Hey, what's going on? Coach here, and I got a very interesting topic for this week, the concept of time. It's a simple yet complex element. Before we get too deep into this, I got to do something a little bit crazy as a visual aid and a representation of what I want to discuss today. So let's get that done right now. Now you might be thinking, what in the world are you doing, Coach? That's a little bit crazy. Well, really it represents the past, present, and future. On one hand, for my training and my Samson run, we'll call this, my journey, there's a number of things I've struggled with, especially when it comes to the past 6 weeks. I'm a little bit off in terms of my training. I'm not really pushing endurance. I'm not running yet. So it's very different. And one thing that I've looked back 1 year, and actually this was the point I started training and did the Bulk to B series, which was a year ago. So it's pretty much close to that date in terms of how I trained and what I did. So I can really look back and see the journey from that point and what carried me through to the Samson event, which I already know how that turned out. Now for this year, for 2023, I'm right in the middle, I'm in the present. Where I get to for this next 6 weeks is gonna be really interesting. There's 42 days left of training. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work out. I can only do my best each day in and day out. And something else you'll notice is one of my watches broke. So normally I'd use my Garmin for running and distance and times. It's GPS based, and now it's gone. So it broke during training. So the one interesting thing about, say, this episode is it's gonna be a year from now or in the future. And what my life is gonna be like at that time, I have no idea. It's so hard to even plan a week ahead of time and see how life works out. And that's really the interesting thing about time. We can't control the past because we've already lived it and you can't change it. You can't control the future, so you can only control the present, which is right in the middle. And if you'll notice, my physique has not changed, not that much in 6 weeks. I like to think that the most interesting thing about time is that it's something that doesn't mean a whole lot to us when we have more of it. So I had 13 weeks when I started this training for the Samson and doing this warrior run. And then now that I'm halfway there or right in the middle, I can start to feel a sense of urgency. And that's really important, let's say in goal setting, what we call SMART goals. The T stands for time-based. And the reason we want to use time is because it can be an advantage. When we have too much time, there's the temptation to slack off, do other things, take care of other priorities. But as time starts narrowing down and closing down towards a goal, you'll notice maybe your priorities will change, especially if there's something you really want to get done. When there's a deadline for a day, it seems more important to do it as that day gets closer, rather than when there's a ton of time, it's like, I'll get to that at some point. But it can also kind of be our opposition force or our enemy in some senses. If we're not prepared, haven't been getting to the point where we need to be caught up. It's one of those areas that time is a really hard one. When you go in unprepared and you come into, let's say if I was doing this Samson, and I hadn't been training, and then all of a sudden I just showed up to the event, which some people do, which is fine. I would not even be remotely close to finishing it, say in the middle of the pack. I'd probably be at the bottom of the pack just because I didn't prepare for it. So time and living in the present, all we can do is kind of prepare for what's ahead, but we can't control what's ahead. We can only control what's in the moment. And so that's what I'm doing today is I got my walk done and I have training for Sunday morning, and that's what I will be doing for the next 6 weeks. So my body's gonna be used to that, say, weekly habituation where I'm pushing my heart early on a Sunday morning. By the same token, my routine and my schedule is also gonna be very similar in structure, because now that I only have 6 weeks left, I'm gonna put things in place that are gonna get me ready, like do my training harder earlier in the week, and as the week kind of goes on, to kind of back down a little bit so that I don't hammer the body too hard and I'm too sort of compete on Sunday, because that's another element that's going to kick into this. Let's say, and how I use my body over that week and train my body to habituate, but it's really just to get it in a pattern or a routine or a groove, to train me, to work me towards that goal, which is ultimately to just finish. And then I have another goal, which I've set to beat my time from the previous week. And let's say SMART-based goals, there's things in that I can't control, which is other people. That's really my focus at this point, is to just go day by day. So as I'm doing the present, a present time to me would be the day, just focusing on each day. And that's exactly what I'll be doing for the next 6 weeks, or say 42 days specifically. So I know the amount of days now, and as it closes in, I'm gonna feel that sense of urgency to really push towards these goals and sub-goals I have to compete. And then when the event's all said and done, then I can look back and watch this journey at some point, but it's gonna be posted way ahead. So that's all I got for this episode. Till the next episode, take care, peace out.